Hey, I'm Mark,
And I'm Craig.
and this is Songwriter's Tales. Craig, Artist Spotlight Series, Jeff Canada.
Jeff Canada, a Texas musician. Now, I want all of you people out there to think about Waylon Jennings, Merle Haggard, the bad dudes, the outlaw country guys. This guy is one of them. And I want to just say, we're giving you a warning right now. Jeff he does not hold back, and he uses a lot of colorful language. So if you're offended by colorful language, move on, because he's coming, baby. What do you say, Mark?
I say you should listen to it anyway because he's awesome.
And by the way, what do you have? 23 million views on one of his. He went viral, and you're going to learn about it. So yeah. Oh, so Mark says stay on. Do what he says.
Let's do it.
I say yeah.
Well, it's not like it's not like you were asking for something that's unheard of. I mean, if you did that at the Bluebird in Nashville, some big bouncer come over and throw your ass out on the sidewalk. I mean, they don't
I
play.
think that's part of what I'm talking about, right? I think that's part of the problem. In my opinion, and I want to say this, I am not trying to tell people not to do this. That's not what I'm saying. We want you. Come on. We need more songs. We need more pro people. We need people that really want to do this doing it. The problem is there's just too many people doing it right now that just don't give a shit. That don't care enough about what it's really about. And what it's really about is performing. It's really about putting on a show. And so what we've done is we've cultivated this whole society of people that just go to a restaurant that there just happens to be somebody playing music. And then that person's like background music, right? You can't really hear what they're doing. If they say anything, no one reacts because they can't really hear what they're saying. It's muffled bullshit. And that is 90% of what's being played live now. So
Now, are they playing that in the listening rooms, like in that place you're talking about?
I'm talking about as society as a whole. Take out the
Right.
listening.
Yeah,
Right?
you're talking about what people have been
Sure.
I'm talking about the way
conditioned.
we have cultivated. We have
Yeah.
we have conditioned society
Right.
to realize that what we're doing on a stage doesn't matter that much, right?
Mhm.
That's what we've done. And so society, we care because we're musicians, right? We're in it. We're in the game. But society has gotten to the point where they don't give a shit. And I keep getting argued about this, but I said this on the last podcast, and I think this is a great time to talk about this. I'm going to give you a universal metric that has been true all the way back as far as music has been born. All right. This is that metric. If you could sing and play guitar, it didn't matter how fat you are, didn't matter how ugly you are, you could get the hot chick. It did not matter. Whenever, even 5 years ago, even 10 years ago, if I was to play a show, I would have girls all over me at that show. That doesn't happen anymore. The girls don't, and I'm not saying about me because I'm like this old fat burly dude now, but like it doesn't happen to the young, good looking kids. I mean, now if you're already at a part, listen, if you're already at a part where you're making money, right?
Right.
If you're the red clay strays, I guarantee you they're
Sure.
getting that shit thrown at them left and right. But
Absolutely.
it used to be if you were just some dipshit sitting on a bar stool, it was that way, right? It's not that way anymore. And so I dare anybody to look at it and really look at it from that angle and look at it. The majority of places where you go see live music are people paying attention to live music. And I'm telling you, it's not. So then what you have is you have an artist who gets a chance to play a listening room, right? Like me, for example.
Yeah.
I get a chance to play a listening room and I invite people out. Well, if those people found me at Joe Blow's sports bar, they're not going to know how to act in a listening room. Most
Right.
people don't even know what the fuck a listening room is.
Right.
So
That's true. That's true.
and then you add on the iPads. Look, you add that on.
Yeah, it's because
We have conditioned society to come up and request a song, and then if you don't know it, they just say, "Look it up on your iPad." It happens to me every day, and I'm like, first of all, does it see do you see an iPad up here?
Do I
No,
look like
why?
a jukebox?
Yeah, but yet we've conditioned society to expect that. So again, I'm not sure if the answer is we need to get society back to where they give a shit about music again, or if the answer is for us to just stop giving a shit if they give a shit about music.
I've
And
got
it,
two things to say.
and it's a sad state of where we're at right now.
Yeah, I've got two things to say about what you said there. So one of the things that I see personally is that things like American Idol and all the millions of shows about talent, everybody and their freaking brother and son and sister and daughter and brother-in-law want to be on the stage. And with the internet where you can pull up videos to see how to do things like play guitar, for instance, and they can get on on the hyper mode to learn. You can learn real fast how to play guitar unless you're a complete talentless. Most people can play, and then they can get out and then they can play, the stages and everything. And so they're filling up. We're being filled up with mediocre talent, which is exactly what you're talking about. I wrote a song, Jeff. I'm going to send it to you. I'll send it to your text when we're done. It's called I Play Guitar in a Mexican Restaurant. And I wrote this thing 18 years ago when I was playing what we call the nacho circuit, okay? And one of the lines in the chorus is, I play guitar in a Mexican restaurant near the bar underneath the TV. If there ain't breaking news or a game on, I could swear everybody was listening to me. And yeah, and that is exactly what you're saying. And that was almost 20 years ago that I was doing that. And I wasn't a hack by any stretch. I've already been playing for 30 years, professionally. But there's so many of them out there that are just like going, why are you paying him money to play? He's, there's no reason to do that, or her. And a lot of females are out there now, it's doubled now because ladies are really starting to move into the whole industry, which is great. I'm all for it. As long as they're good.
We want people, we want you. We want you to come in. We want you to be a part of the brotherhood or sisterhood or whatever you want to call it. We want you to be part of the community, but we want you to be part of the community. What we don't want is for you to come in and bring your half-assed,
watered down
bullshit to stages, because all that hurts us, man. It does. And I'm not even talking about pay. I'm just talking about, I don't give a shit if I'm playing a show for free or if I'm making $5,000. When I take that show, it's the same intensity, same thing. My goal is to entertain the audience in front of me, regardless of what the pay is.
Yeah, I always say every gig I play is the Super Bowl.
100%.
If it's 10 people, or 1,000 people.
100%, man. And there's just too many people out there that are just so lazy. But the thing is, again, like I said before, we have to make a decision. Those of us that really love this have to make a decision. Do we all want to get together and team up and fight against these people and fight against society? Or do we just want to give up and say, fuck it. I'm just going to do this regardless of who's listening to me? Because that's kind of where you got to be to keep your sanity. Because if you're not there, then you're pissed off because you're playing a stage and nobody cares.
Well, everybody wants respect. I mean,
I agree, but it's the bar of entry has gotten so low.
Exactly.
Take soundmen, right? Like 15 years ago, if you wanted to have a decent PA to play let's say a 500 cap room, which is not a huge room, you would need a trailer, you would need a truck, you would need a couple of dual 18 subs, you would need, you need power amps and racks and all these things, right? 15, 20 years ago. But then it got to the point where everything went digital and everything went presets and everything went compact. So now you got these real compact systems that still put out just as much sound as those bigger systems did. All of these line array things and all this stuff. And so now any Joe Blow can go down to Guitar Center and blow $4,000, and now they have a sound company. And now they're going out and they're charging you $500 to $1,000 or $1,500 to come out and run sound for you for a show, and they ain't got a clue what the fuck they're doing. But yet you're paying them.
That's true.
Literally every single aspect of the music industry has gone down because of that. Same thing with producers. Somebody went out and got them a laptop and they bought Logic for $200 and they got them some preamps and some microphones, and now they think they're an engineer or they think they're a producer. And it's like, no. Dude, I met with 18 different producers for my last album. 18 different producers. And I said, okay, this is what I want to do. And every single one of them, with the exception of one, said, okay, first thing I want you to send me some reference songs. And I said, reference songs for what? And they said, reference songs so we can kind of figure out what you want to sound like.
like another artist.
And I'm like, wait, what? Like, no, to me, that's not a producer. To me, a producer, you're basically an engineer who's going to copycat a song. A producer is someone that hears a song blank, a guitar and a vocal, and says, this is what we should do with this song. Let's go this direction. And then you have an argument about it and you figure it out and y'all come to an agreement. And then and then you work towards that deal. But now that's not what's big. Rick Rubin, that's how he would work.
Right.
But now that's not how the industry standard is. It's so strange to me.
Dude,
because
it is.
The producer should be just as much of an artist as the songwriter.
I was listening today. One of the things that Mark and I do is we scour. We don't scour because it's not a full-time gig for us, this podcast, but as much as we can, we look, and that's how we came across yours. And I saw your video, and I called Mark. I said, have you seen this guy's video? He goes, yeah, I did see that. I said, I'm going to get him on the show. I'm going to reach out. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. So, but I'm always on looking for new talent and seeing it. And I am so disturbed that it's gotten so bad. I can't tell. I mean, they're all Zach or Cody's, or, they're all kind of named the same, oftentimes, but they all literally look, sound, the same affect, the same attitude, the same songs. And I'm going like, and Mark, I didn't tell you this. I was going to have a conversation. It's like, it's just kind of depressing because I want to go, I don't even want them on the show. We're nobody, Mark and I are nobody in the podcast world.
But think about what you're saying. And then put yourself in a talent buyer's shoes for a venue.
Yeah.
And there's so many delusional ass musicians out there. And here's the deal. You need a certain level of delusion when you're getting started. Right? Your first year, 2 years, you're out playing shows. You need to be a little bit delusional, because I can tell you, you're not good until you played 100 shows. I don't give a shit who you are.
That's right.
You're not
there.
The fake comes through. The fakeness.
It's just like podcasts. You don't really know what you're doing until you've done 100 episodes, because there's just all kinds of shit that can go on.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with shows. And some people say you gotta play 1,000 shows before you know what the hell's going on. You need a certain level of delusion, but at some point, there's got to be an adult in the room that says you're not good enough, right? But this goes back to what we started talking about at the very beginning about kind of the not wanting to hurt anybody's feelings and not wanting to say what's on your mind, And so, like, if someone was to send me a video for something and say, hey, I would like to do this, what do you think about this? I'm not pussyfooting around, right? I'm not saving people's feelings. It's going to be, well, this is what I think about it. This is what I think you should be doing. So it's not just going to be shitting on it. It's going to kind of be shitting on it and then trying to get them to unshit it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, redirecting, trying to help.
Yeah, but if you take this whole thing, it's not just music. Right. Look at select baseball. Do you guys know anything about select baseball? So my kid played select baseball for a long time. And select baseball is the same way, right? It's what used to happen is you had rec ball, right? You had your normal rec leagues, your little league, whatever, where it was you paid $275 a year or whatever, $25 a year, and your kid played 10 games or whatever, went to practice once a week. And on those teams, you would have one or two really good kids, and then everybody else would kind of not be that great, right?
Yeah. Have to play left field.
Which you want. And those coaches' job are not to focus on those one or two really good kids. They're to focus on the other kids to bring them up to be good enough for the next level. That's the whole purpose. Well, that's completely fucking eliminated now. Now what happens is you have select baseball. It's become this huge business, right? And on every select team now, there's levels. So if you're like have a AAA traveling team, those kids are probably all going to be good. But if you're a AA team and you play locally, you play local tournaments, every single one of those kids have 2, 3, maybe 4 really good kids, and everybody else is terrible. And guess what the coaches are doing? The coaches are coaching to those rest of those shitty kids so they can actually win games. And so the better kids never get better. We're doing the same thing in the music industry. We're doing the same thing in education. We're doing the same thing to our kids on every single level of society. We're saying, no, you're good. No, this is good. I'm so proud of you. This is so good. No one's saying that sounds like shit.
Yeah. That's right.
No one's saying, hey, take that trumpet to the middle of the woods and fucking blow on it until you get good and then come
That's
back
it.
and you can do it in the
Right.
house.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody wins an award for mediocre product.
Exactly. So what we're doing is we created a whole society of older people that have never been told you're not good at this.
Yeah.
Where
Yeah.
and the problem is I understand the sentiment, right? The sentiment is you don't want to hurt anybody's feelings.
Right.
You want to be positive. You want to build people up through positivity. Okay, that works in rec ball, right? That works for 15-year-old
local talent shows, local talent.
and open mics. That works for that.
Sure.
It does not work once somebody wants to go into professional baseball or college baseball or high school baseball.
Right.
It doesn't work once you start getting paid to play music. Once you get that first time getting paid to play music, you should get a legit review about that show from somebody. Legit. And if you can't handle that, because what's going to happen, it's going to cause one of two things, right? It's going to be either A, fuck that person, I'm going to do what I want to do. Okay, that's cool. You can do that, and then you're not going to get hired. Or it's going to be like, shit, that person's probably right. I need to adjust. Or it may be, no, fuck that person, I'm going to do what I want to do, and you take off anyway because that person was wrong. But the point is, if that conversation's not had, then you're not thinking about it. You're thinking you're just A-okay. So what we've done is we've made a whole group of musicians, a whole group of artists, a whole group of baseball players and football players and everybody else think that they're good enough when they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And musicians are emotional,
right? It's not about the song.
No. It's about the performance and the overarching, the holistic view of it. It's interesting, but as a songwriter, I can relate because Mark and I met 30 years ago. I was coordinating for the Nashville Songwriters Association, and I'd come out of the rock and roll world. The Who, Zeppelin, Queen, Pink Floyd and all that kind of stuff, Beatles. And it's interesting because I thought at that time when I first started writing what I thought were country songs, that whatever came out of my pen, out of my brain and here, and came out of my pen was divine inspiration, and you don't touch it. It is like a child. It is what it is, and it's just perfect the way it is. Well, let me tell you, man, I talked with some publishers, the first publishers I was talking to in Nashville, and they were like, I think I met with Clay Bradley out at BM, who is Owen Bradley's grandson. Owen produced Patsy Cline and all those people. And Clay, he'd say, man, and he'd say, that's, you need to listen. And I was just taken aback. And that's when I learned that songwriting was a craft, just like performance is a craft, entertainment is a craft. And very few people are going to just come out of the womb with something that God threw in their pack along those lines. And it's going to be, they just do it naturally. Tommy Emmanuel's probably one of them. Of course, he works his butt off getting there too. Yeah. But Mark and I, we learned a lot. I'd never co-written with anybody. So I co-wrote with somebody. And then, Mark and I got together once a week for a year or two, I guess, and wrote together. And we would have the privilege and the openness to tell each other, that was the first time that I ever had anybody say, "No, that line's not working."
Yeah, you can do better.
I thought my lines were just like little bits of genius straight from heaven, And Mark would go, "No, we can do better than that." And I went, "Okay." And so we had that between us, but I get it.
I'll tell you a real quick story.
Yeah.
Back in 2005 or 6, 4 or 5 or 6, I can't remember. I had a guy come to me that I knew, and he ran this bar, and it was multiple. They had like 20 something locations, right? And he basically said, "Hey, I'm looking for duos to go around, and basically we'll set you up and you'll play all the stores, and basically you'll be playing 15, 16 shows a month just on our places," right? And so I was like, fuck yeah, let's do it, right? So I grabbed a buddy of mine. The very first gig they gave us was every Sunday at one of their locations down here in Houston. And we showed up, dude, and we thought we were just ready to roll, man. We had a PA, we had guitars, and we show up, and we put on our show, and we thought we did great. Well, the next day, the guy calls me, right? And he says, "Hey, man," he said, "we're going to have to let y'all go." He's like, you guys just are not a good fit for the venue. It's too emotional. It's too emo. Everything's too sad. We were playing Alice in Chains and Pearl Jam and these like, Nirvana, these like.
Not reading the room.
Yeah, well, that's just the music we loved, right?
Right.
And so I was like, okay, I get it. Now look, I could have went one or two directions when I got told that, right? What I could have done is said, man, fuck you, dude. Like, you don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to do this, and this is what's going to happen. But instead, what I did is I listened, and I was like, I get it. And I locked myself in a room for another like 3 months, and I learned all of these, like, all the standards, the brown eyed girls and the
Yeah,
joke
my
and
girl.
all
Yeah,
these,
yeah.
yeah, all these like upbeat, fun standards. And then, I went back out and then literally 6, 8 months later, I'm one of the most booked musicians in Houston playing cover shows.
This right here is my guitar, and it's from Australia. You'll notice the roo at the top of the headstock. Oh, that's why I was talking like that. I don't really talk like that, but I want you to know on episode 54, a really good friend of mine out in Nashville, Bill Warmoth, is on our show. He provides guitars for people like Keith Urban, Peter Frampton, and Tommy Emmanuel. And actually, that's what he uses right there. So you need to listen to Bill Warmoth. He is a guitar guy. He knows guitars, and he's super fascinating. Check him out. Songwriter's Tales, episode 54. See you there. Make sure you subscribe now.